Scripture today is from Genesis chapter 28, verses 10 through 19. Jacob left Beersheba and went toward Haran. He came to a certain place and stayed there for the night because the sun had set. Taking one of the stones of the place, he put it under his head and lay down in that place. And he dreamed that there was a stairway set up on the earth, the top of it reaching to heaven, and the angels of God were ascending and descending on it. And the Lord stood beside him and said, I am the Lord, the God of Abraham your father, and the God of Isaac. The land on which you lie I will give to you and to your offspring, and your offspring shall be like the dust of the earth, and you shall spread abroad to the west and to the east and to the north and to the south, and all the families of the earth shall be blessed in you and in your offspring. Know that I am with you and will keep you wherever you go, and will bring you back to this land, for I will not leave you until I have done what I have promised you. Then Jacob woke from his sleep and said, Surely the Lord is in this place, and I did not know it. And he was afraid and said, How awesome is this place! This is none other than the house of God, and this is the gate of heaven. So Jacob rose early in the morning, and he took the stone that he had put under his head and set it up for a pillar and poured oil on the top of it. He called that place Bethel, but the name of the city was Luz at the first. So the movie Spider-Man Brand New Day is scheduled to be released on July 31st. Any Spider-Man fans in the congregation? Oh yeah, there's a couple. Okay. I'll try not to get, I don't know anything about that movie, but I'll try not to give any spoilers for the movies that have already come out in case any of you haven't seen them and want to go see them. But the previous Spider-Man movies in the Marvel Cinematic Universe were titled Spider-Man Homecoming, Spider-Man Far From Home, and Spider-Man No Way Home. The titles of these three movies all use that word home in some way. Homecoming, the title of the first movie, sounds positive and promising, right? We all love a good homecoming. In September, here at First Christian Church, we have a fall kickoff Sunday, but in some churches, that Sunday is called Homecoming Sunday. It's a day when those who have been away from their church home due to summer vacation, or perhaps have been away from their church home for longer than that, are invited to return, to be welcomed back, to take their place in church. Far From Home, the title of the second movie, doesn't sound quite as uplifting, right? It sounds a little more challenging, but it does make it sound like a return home is still possible. It might be challenging, but it's still possible. You're just far from home. But No Way Home, the title of the third movie, makes it sound like you've gone past the point of no return. If there's no way home, then you've essentially become homeless. That phrase, no way home, gives one the impression that this movie is neither history nor comedy, but tragedy. Indeed, in the final scene of No Way Home, Spider-Man, aka Peter Parker, finds himself in a familiar place, surrounded by familiar places, familiar faces, so it looks like home, and yet he's actually a whole universe away. And you think maybe, just maybe, he can cross that universe and return home, or at least that maybe there'll be a hint that that's going to happen in the future. But no, there's no hint of that. He remains in a universe away, far from home, with no way back. Now, whether he is indeed able to cross that universe and return home in the movie that comes out at the end of this month, I have no idea. But one can hope, right? There we go. Jacob had left his home in Beersheba. His leaving was not by choice. Jacob didn't want to leave home. Heck, most days Jacob didn't even want to leave his tent. While the other men went out and hunted, Jacob preferred to stay among the tents with the women. What can I say? Jacob wasn't like the other boys. Jacob was built different. Jacob was created by God different. And Jacob liked to stay close to home. Well, close to home is not the name of any Spider-Man movie. As much as we might like to stay close to home, and as much as Jacob really liked to stay close to home, I guess staying close to home just doesn't make for a very exciting movie. And in the Bible, there are many stories of people leaving home, going far from home. Abraham, Jacob's own grandfather, left his home and took his whole household on a very long journey to a new home. Now Jacob himself was being forced on a long journey. Close to home isn't the title of his story either, as much as he would have liked it to be. No, like Abraham, Jacob was also sent far from home. The reason Jacob had to leave home was his twin brother Esau. Now, Esau was everything that Jacob was not. Esau was strong, manly, hairy, it's in the Bible, and a good hunter. And because he was born first, Esau was in line to receive the birthright and the blessing reserved for the firstborn son. But Jacob successfully stole from Esau the birthright and the blessing of the firstborn son. And because of this, Esau was determined to kill Jacob. So Jacob fled for his life. He had an uncle who lived in Haran. Now, Haran was 500 miles away. In an age of no internet and no high-speed travel, it might as well have been a whole universe away. But it was the only safe place for Jacob to go to. So Jacob left Beersheba and began his long journey away from home. After a day or two of travel, Jacob reached Bethel. It was at this point, I think, that Jacob asked himself, am I really doing this? It may have felt to him like he was now at the point of no return. The point when he realized that, yes, this is really happening. The point when he realized that he may never see his home or his family again. And what about God? It was a common belief in ancient times that the God of a people lived where that people lived. That God was the God of this land. And that other lands had other gods or no gods at all. So not only would Jacob be cut off from his family, far from home, but would he also be cut off from his God? With these thoughts in his head, Jacob lay down for the night to get some sleep. Back home, he would have been in his comfy bed with his comfy pillow, but out here, far from home, all he had was the ground. He grabbed a stone and placed it under his head, trying to imagine the comfort of the pillows that he had at home, but the stone was a poor substitute. And there he lay, far from home, on his way to an even farther from home place, trying to feel so desperately not alone. Eventually, Jacob fell asleep, and he had this dream, this vision. He saw a stairway or ladder reaching up to heaven, and angels were ascending and descending it. And God appeared, and as we already heard in the scripture, God said to Jacob, I am the Lord, the God of Abraham, your father, the God of Isaac. The land on which you lie, I will give to you and to your offspring. And your offspring shall be like the dust of the earth. And you shall spread abroad to the west and to the east and to the north and to the south. And all the families of the earth will be blessed in you and in your offspring. Know that I am with you and will keep you wherever you go, and will bring you back to this land. For I will not leave you until I have done what I have promised to do. And Jacob awoke, and Jacob realized that no matter where he went, no matter how far from home he was, that God would be with him, and that he would never be alone. Even at the end of the universe, God would be there with him. As the psalmist wrote, where can I go from your spirit? Where can I flee from your presence? If I take the wings of the morning and settle at the farthest limits of the sea, even there your hand shall lead me, and your right hand shall hold me fast. When Jacob woke up, he realized that all this was true. And because God would be with him no matter where he went, no matter how far from home he traveled, then in a very real sense, wherever he went would be home. He would never truly be far from home because he was always at home with God, no matter where he lay his head. With God, we always have a home. God, the one in whom we live and move and have our being, is our home. It's so easy to feel lost in our world, to feel without a home, to feel disconnected from our values, from ourselves, from humanity, to feel beyond the reach of love. Even if you have a shelter, a safe place, a place to sleep at night with a comfy bed and soft pillows, you can still feel as though you are without a home. But God is never far away. And in God's presence, we always have a home. How are we at First Christian Church proclaiming and living out this message, this truth? How are we helping others find their home in God? I sometimes wonder if some of the things we do to make ourselves feel at home here keeps others from feeling at home here. Are we unknowingly or unintentionally making others feel less at home just so we can feel more at home? What would happen if we discovered that something that we do to feel at home here is actually keeping others from feeling at home? Would we be willing to change or even give up those practices so that others can find a home here? Hospitality and welcome are not easy things. We like to say that we are a church that welcomes all as if that were an easy thing. But it's not. It can be real challenging sometimes. It requires that we put the needs of others ahead of our own needs. that we consider what extra effort it might require of us to make others feel truly welcome. I know that for me, as an introvert, it can be easy to just hide in my corner somewhere and not bother anyone and think I'm doing a good job of welcoming others simply because I haven't got in the way. But true welcome requires more than that, especially from the pastor, but from any of us, really. And I've sometimes thought over the years that the disciples of Christ as a denomination is an introverted denomination. We're not as loud as some other denominations. We don't make as much noise. And that's not entirely a bad thing. I appreciate my quiet moments, and I sometimes grow weary of those who don't ever stop talking or who always insist on being the center of attention. But I think that we as a church do need to step out of the shadows where we've been hiding into the light with open arms and a big sign saying, "Welcome home," or something like that. Because I really do believe that we are just the type of church that many are looking for, that many need. A church committed to following Jesus. A church that believes that Jesus is not supposed to be the tool of any political party, but instead is a challenge to every person and every political party to do what is right, to work for justice, to free the oppressed, and to care for the poor. A church that allows the gospel to challenge us and change us. A church where questions are encouraged. A church where we engage in respectful conversations with people with whom we may disagree. And through those conversations, and by listening to one another, we may learn and grow into a deeper sort of faith. I've heard people tell me in various places that I've lived, different churches that I've been a part of, that the Disciples of Christ denomination is one of the best kept secrets around. Well, it makes me wonder that if our church is a secret that no one knows about, how welcoming is that, really? If it's a secret, it sounds more like a private club, the type of place where maybe you have to have a password to get in or be on a VIP list, or the type of place where you walk down a narrow street to an unmarked door and tap out a secret knock in order to gain admission. If we're not letting people know that we're here, and we're not letting people know that they are welcome here, then maybe we still have some work to do on being a welcoming church. Now, somehow we, all of us, have found this place. And we have found a welcome here. And we are so, I hope I can speak for all of you, so thankful to have found this home. And we have learned to see God as a God who welcomes us and who welcomes all and who invites us to take our place to make this our home. What a joy and what a blessing that is to have a home, this home, to be welcomed and to know God's love. It's too good a thing to keep to ourselves, especially in a world where so many feel so far from home, so far from any kind of home. A world where so many feel that there is no way home. A world where so many are spiritually homeless. This is our home, but it's not just our home. It is a home for all people, including those who haven't yet made their way here. Let's let the world know that this is their home. Let's welcome them in just as God has welcomed us.